So next is David. I think David is the only guy that is not a developer. He's having a presentation, and he's going to talk about 3D games and graphics in Linux and Gentoo specifically.
Hello, my name is David Heidelberger, and I will talk about Gentoo and graphic and what you can do for better games, more FPS, and how to set up graphics and everything about it. So here is my email address or QR code, which you can use through mobile phone, like vCard. And okay, content. So we will talk about introduction into architecture, how to set it in Gentoo, why, how to report bugs, about graphic hardwares, and about future, what waiting for us. So first slide is about how it works. It's without arrows, so I tell you. Kernel part right now handling kernel mode settings, which set up your cards to correct resolution for your monitor. It's a little bit new. Before it was mostly used in driver's Xorg server. So settings was a little time after boot was okay, and now it's in kernel, and memory management of graphic card is too in kernel, so it's a little bit more stable for 3D graphics and games and everything. From kernel, when some application wants to use kernel rendering and APIs, it need libdrm for accessing mostly, and then there is Mesa library, which you probably have as package in Gentoo, which handles 3D, everything about 3D rendering. It using right now memory management and kernel through libdrm. Mesa contains Gallium framework, which most new drivers are written in, and this allows to use everything like OpenCL, Direct 3D Tracker, classic OpenGL. It's mostly good extendable, so no problem using any technology you get on your mind. Of course, to kernel to accessing XF86/video drivers, which continue with / your vendor of card mostly, like Novell for NVIDIA cards, ETI for Radeon cards, and Intel for Intel cards, of course. And this allows to X-Server to render 2D graphics. So if you have something like problems with acceleration of 2D, something not good on the screen, it's mostly this driver. If you're so laser nějaký? Laser? It's here, something? Okay. If you're using composite acceleration of your desktop effects, you're mostly using Mesa library. So if something sits not okay when using 3D effects, it's Mesa part. Right part of the screen is filled with Wayland and Western. It's a little bit new technology right now. It's much lighter than Xorg server, which is 25 years old right now. And Wayland is a little bit new implementation of graphic interface for tablets and I guess mobiles, everything which doesn't need complete implementation of everything, network layers, etc. And so it's faster, and most application developing for it right now from slowly, but it's not usable right now. I have a little presentation after this presentation. Okay, now what do you need to get acceleration to work? In kernel, you just, if you're compiling yourself kernel, just make miniconfig and set up device drivers, graphics support, and here you select your vendor of graphic card. That's all to get graphics working for base, for start, so graphic console. And for Intel cards and for NVIDIA cards, so Novell driver, you don't need any firmware, because for Intel cards, I don't know how to solve it, but it's automatic. For Novell cards, it's reverse engineered firmware, so no worry. But for Radeon cards, you need to package Radeon / ucode. So without it, it just froze for 1.5 minutes after boot, and it will tell you nothing. So after that, if you don't restart it, you have to install this package. If you have it as in kernel directly, that driver, you need to tell kernel where are firmware codes. So that's all about kernel, nothing more, nothing less. And then you have in a system package libdrm. You have to, if you want to use Wayland or some new technology or try it, you have to set libkms use for it to work it, to get it work. And just if you use eagle acceleration. Now I skipped that one and I can get it later. So next thing you have to in /atc/make.conf set video cards. It's not necessary. You can skip that part, but if you don't want to compile in drivers everything for auto cards which you don't use, you can't set it here. So for Radeon, you choose Radeon and something from 3 Radeon SI, R600 or R300. R300 means cards from Radeon X1000 to X2000. R600 is codename for cards from 2000 to 6000. And Radeon SE is from 7000 up. For Intel cards, there are only 2 choices, for older cards and for newer cards. So you choose just Intel and your chip. You can get it by just looking to wiki, or I don't know, I don't have much Intel hardware, so I can say. And for NVIDIA cards, you just said Novell. It's because Novell was a reverse engineered driver, and it works very well. Just saying it was reverse engineering, so a lot of people said when the project was starting, it's impossible. But they done it, and now it supports even most newest card. So that's our Novell. Just for everything is here, Novell. And now we're getting back to Mesa library. So when you compile Mesa library, you need to set some flags. And now about basics. Most basic 2 flags are Classic and Gallium. Classic does allow you to build classic drivers built on pure Mesa. So right now, these classic drivers are just Novell for older cards than series FX 5000. So everything older needs classic. Without it, it doesn't build support. And it's recommended for Intel cards, all of Intel cards, because developers doesn't working on Gallium for now because they say it's not perspective for them. So yes, their opinion, but you have to, if you want full support, you need to build Classic, use FLAC other than Gallium. So that's for Radeon cards. Of course, Radeon cards have two Classic, but it's not too perspective for now because Radeon cards, by my testing, working much better with Gallium. For Gallium also need you need also Gallium for newest Novell cards, so NVIDIA cards from FX 5000 series, and Radeon, everything I said, except really old cards. So if you set this correctly, you will get acceleration. That's for first. Second thing is EGL. You need for Wayland for now, because Wayland only runs on EGL for now. It will change maybe in future, but for now you need it. Next is OpenGL ES on top, and this is something you may use for example, Kaiwen acceleration if you're using KDE environment. So some people say it's a little bit faster than classic OpenGL provided. So you can try it. It makes you maybe a little bit more performance on lower class cards. Next thing, Wayland. Wayland, you need it only for build Wayland, so if you don't want to try, you don't need it. And now we get to performance important. Low-level virtual machine, here, LLVM. That's really important. I recommend everyone to enable it, because from my experience, when you enable it, you can get even double rate of frame per second in your game. So it's pretty good. I tested on old Counter-Strike, and it was from 30 FPS to 60 FPS. So good idea to enable it. Similar options is for R600 cards series, and it's just shader compiler to using a low-level virtual machine. So enable it, it's good for your health. So from this slide I just forget to low-level virtual machine pipe. It's only in case you don't have graphics which support 3D. LLV, low-level virtual machine pipe, allows you to render on CPU, so on a processor. You can on your processor render as it was graphic card. Of course it's slower, but if you have for example quad core, you can spend one core on graphics if you don't have something from these shiny cards. So this way, there was older alternative to low-level machine pipe, and it was called SV Rust, and it didn't use LLVM, but it's a little bit slower and now deprecated. Okay, now Wine. Mostly I'd like to ask you, how much do you using 64-bits computer? Everyone? Okay, almost everyone. I will talk about a little bit emulation of 32 bits, because it's really important. Because when you run a game under Wine, for example, or everything 32 bits, it doesn't use classic Mesa and author packages around it, but it uses emulation libs, which are listed up. emul/linux/x86/ OpenGL. So you can use it, but it may happen to you that sometimes when they build it, just some version of Mesa library or something which render graphics, which doesn't give you maximal performance, or it's just maybe sometimes buggy. It happens. So what can you do about it? What can you do to improve performance? First thing, you can of course complain, but it arises in a few months ago. It arises a solution, and it's a Fireburn overlay. Just one guy made it overlay which can replace you some files from OpenGL package, and you can build it from Git repository, and you can use Lastos development library, so which can help you fix some bugs or add a new. It's sometimes this, sometimes this. But for example, if you have some bug, some problem, or it's slow, you can use it. It overwrites some files. It's not completely clean installation. But you can try latest version, test if everything is okay. If not, you can report back, they will fix it, and you will just update one package and get graphics working or working fast. So this one important. So just through Lyman added this repository, that's all you need, and unmask some few packages. Portage will help you with that. And of course, next thing, Wine. It's a really big difference when you compile Wine with CF flux, for example, 0 or 01 or 02. It's really noticeable in a lot of FPS in games. So just try how much can you raise it. Maximal is 303. If you use 03 and it will work, it's good for you. If not, it sometimes happens, it has some problems if you do 03 optimization. So try a little bit downer and report back, that's all. And really important thing when you're playing games is that disable the desktop effects. It sometimes maybe disable itself, but if not, you get a lot of FPS more. And most or best solution, but I don't know how much people will do this, maybe if you really like games, is you just shut down Xorg server, so your login manager shut down, run console, and from it run startx command with only terminal. And it will get a little bit performance because Wine takes a lot of from your CPU, and when you will have nothing running, then you can spare more CPU on your game. So that's one thing. Let's move on. Bug reports. Okay, that's a little bit simple. You need to attack these two files on top. At least it's minimal what you need to do. And of course it's better compile Mesa package and all package which was on previous slides with these variables. So you, for developers you get very good output taken by this, maybe in some cases tell where is problem. So when you compile some packages with this, they can easier fix your problem. Of course, some screenshot if it's some game, it's good, or picture by mobile phone. And of course, most, I guess, you're using classic, for example, Mesa package, which have some version is released already. So if you have a problem with it, just try 9999 version, and it's from a developing branch, and you can test it if it's fixed already, for example, your problem, or it may gain you more performance. So if you install this version, you may find out everything going faster. Maybe sometimes for some graphics, of course, it's not it's not for everything, but it may be good. And what about future? Right now, we have that's interesting for games mostly. We have Direct 3D tracker in Gallium framework, so in Mesa, which allows you to render from DirectX 10 games or everything 3D directly on your card, or some cards, some parts. But it's unmaintained right now. So if some developer picks up, it may gain a really big performance boost for games, because right now it's going through, if you run some game in Wine, it goes to Direct 3D, converts to OpenGL, and go to Gallium or Mesa directly. But if this tracker could be used, it will go directly to Gallium Direct 3D, so it saves one layer between this and between it, and that could improve performance about, I guess, 40%. Next thing is Wayland, and of course it's for now a little new project, pretty new project. But from some mobile devices vendors trying experiment with it, and it's really, how to say it, it have good base, it have good future, because a lot of people working on it, and most application starting to be ported. Big environment like Qt, GTK is ported to it already. About functionality, it's older side, but should be better right now. And for example, even Empire or something you can right now run on it. Empire 2, run on it, and soon it will be pretty usable. And about gaming part, it's Steam. That Valve Corporation started cooperating with Linux developers and Linux graphic developers mainly, and they ported a few games to it. And for example, game left for that was pretty awesome, running a little bit, really little bit faster than on Windows. It runs on Linux, Steam with optimized drivers, little bit than on Windows. So we could see in 1 year, for example, pretty good gaming platform from Linux. So, any questions? In Czech, in English, anything you're interested in? Okay.
So have you used Wayland before?
Wayland, I have a demo on my laptop and on my computer. I tried to play videos in it. It worked for a while, so for experimental project, not even released right now, it's pretty good, and it works fine, at least terminal in it.
Okay. Have you run a web browser in it?
Again, please?
Have you run a web browser in it? Or have none of the browsers been ported?
No, I didn't try for now.
Thanks.
But it should be possible. Any other questions?
Okay, thank you, David.
Okay. Thank you.